Paris
live,
Treaty,
very
the important climate
special
accord.
Politicians of Climate
Since
Change
Donald Trump's been
interview
in,
with
he's cancelled
Arnold
many
Schwarzenegger.
different environmental initiatives. So maybe
Subject
it's
talk
not
UK
lying to
25.
raise questions about the
Times
fact
at the
that
bottom
this
down
is
there.
harder.
16th June,
It is
Friday.
more
Well,
difficult
Monday morning
when
goes
you
to
have an
25.
administration in DC that doesn't want to follow this agenda. Do you admit that?
Yeah, but first of all, it doesn't really matter. What matters is that we don't look at it as just, oh, he's holding us back. He's not holding us back. There was no one in California since Trump was been elected that would stop anyone from putting solar panels on the roof. There's no one that has ever stopped from the Trump administration anyone from putting solar on a warehouse or on a school or to drive an electric car or to buy an electric car or to buy jeans that are made in America rather than in China, which has to be shipped to America, which causes pollution. So there's all nonsense. There's a lot of things that we can do. Let's worry about what we can do rather than what we can't do. Plus, let's be honest, I mean, with the Paris Agreement, I mean, that's all facade, right? I mean, because if America goes in or out, it makes no difference because 70% of the countries did not abide by their promises anyway. So someone can go and say, we are part of the Paris Agreement. We believe in environment. We believe in the cleaning the world. And then they don't keep their promise. So there's no consequences to any of that. So I don't think that has made any difference. I mean, Trump went out of the Paris Agreement already way back in 2017. And now then the Biden went back in again. Now Trump is taking it out again. Do you think there's any difference in America? It's the same thing. Slowly we are cutting down pollution in America because it's done on the local and state level.
So people should just ignore Donald Trump then?
We will drill, baby, drill.
I wouldn't say ignore it. I think you can be aware of it. You have to be aware of your obstacles, but you should not go and use them as an excuse, is my point. You know, you got to go all out. Do I have a vision? I mean, imagine that when I was 15 years old, my vision was to go to America and to be a bodybuilding champion and to get into acting and to do big movies, Hollywood movies. What do you think the obstacles there were? Endless amount of obstacles. And it was very difficult. It was a grind. So did I surrender? Did I go and whine? No. I just said, okay, here are the obstacles. This is what I have to
Good for you, Arnie. You,
Do you
Tyler.
think activists sometimes whine?
You know, everyone has a different personality. So in general, you will find people that are whiners. They get up in the morning and they whine. Oh my God. My back. Oh God. Oh, it's my knee. Darling, can you give me the ice? I mean, my knee. They whine from here to eternity rather than just shut up and just get to work. You know, I think the most important thing is that we all work and we have a goal in mind and we shoot for that goal.
It's interesting.
Of course we do,
listening to
mate.
you. It sounds like you take a very dim view of the, I suppose, the political apparatus around trying to combat climate change and pollution. You said it doesn't make a difference whether or not people are in or out of the Paris Treaty. And you said on stage this morning that people don't give a stuff if it's a Republican or a Democrat doing things on their behalf. Do you think then the sort of international apparatus that's been trying to sort all this stuff out is irrelevant?
No, I think that I found out through our fitness movement that sometimes it's irrelevant, sometimes it works.
Wow,
when you
very
do a
unique.
speech somewhere. Sometimes when you hold a seminar, it breaks through. Sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes you write a fitness book, it goes over well or it doesn't. It doesn't mean we should stop. I think the key thing is that we always keep trying and keep trying. Yes, the dynamics change. One time China is not interested, then they're interested. Now they're building more electric cars than ever before. We have attacked them for years. Then you're not with the program. Now they can go and find charging stations where you can charge up in 15 seconds an electric car. I mean, it's unbelievable the stuff that they're doing. So that's extraordinary. So I think that the key thing is that we kind of like stop complaining and to just be aware of that's the way it is. If you look at the history of the world, there were always problems. There were always wars. There was famine. There was homelessness. There was all of this stuff. I said, but that doesn't mean we should not stop thinking of, and we shouldn't start thinking about How do we improve on that? How do we do better? And so that's where I'm coming from. I'm an optimist. I'm always believing that anything can be done if you have the will to do it and if you have a clear vision.
But you can see on the
Fascinating.
issue you care so much about the environment and fighting pollution, that there has been in many countries less public appetite to be enthusiastic about this fight. We see that in the UK, for example. You see it in lots of European countries. There seems to be a growing skepticism. Not that climate change isn't real, but to people having to do something about it, there seems to be less appetite for that.
I don't blame them. I mean, if you hear the same garbage all the time, and you hear about climate change and climate change and climate change, and you don't know what the hell this means, I mean, it's bogus. I mean, why don't you just say what it is? It's like terminating pollution. That's what we're talking about. When you tell people about, climate change, and when you talk to them about the being carbon zero and carbon negative and carbon positive and carbon this, and it will be in 2025 will be carbon free. What does that all this mean? No
Wow.
one knows. What they know is that we all got to work together to cut pollution. We got to communicate.
It's like eating less chocolate every day,
time you
or
do a
eat
movie,
just one bar
you
of
get
chocolate a week.
together with the publicists and with
You know what I
marketing
mean?
people, with geniuses, and they say, how do we promote this movie? Should we promote this as a love story? Should we promote this as a action movie or futuristic movie or adventure movie or this and that? They are trying to identify it. No one in the environmental community has ever sat down and said, how do we sell this? Because if they would, they wouldn't be using climate change. Because that's, I know that there is climate change.
He swore.
We all know there's climate change, but that's not how you communicate. That's not how you move people around the world. In Africa and in Australia and in America and in Europe and stuff like that. You have to go and say pollution. Pollution kills people. So let's terminate pollution.
But you have politicians, though, even your friends who
Tony Blair.
this morning,
Oh, I hate
said
him.
that people in rich countries don't want to make financial
He should be in prison for war crimes, Tony Blair, next to George W. Bush. Let's face facts on that. That's true. There wasn't mass weapons of destruction in Iraq, was there? No.
Who are talking about cancelling any efforts to
It's stretch
make
altogether.
net zero. They don't want to do it. Do you think there is really still public appetite to get on with this?
Well, first of all, Tony Blair's right. There is not much appetite, but it doesn't mean that we should not inspire people. If I go out and make a poll and there's a lot of appetite in people lifting weights, I maybe find out from people there's not much appetite, but that does not mean I should go out now and show leadership and say to them, I say, guys, this is really good. If you lift weights, you get stronger, you get fit, you get healthy, you live longer and stuff like that. It doesn't mean I should stop. Yes, there are certain realities. It's not easy. It's not easy because people still have the fear that when you go and do something environmentally friendly, that will cost you money and that will hurt the economy. But
It's 18 minutes to midnight now.
We can tell the people.
1 a.m. in the morning. Just on our
We
log.
have proven the opposite. We have the number one and the strictest environmental laws in America.
Wow.
And
16th
we're
of June
also at the
today,
same time number one
Monday morning.
economically. As a matter of fact, we're so powerful economically that we are, with our GDP, number 4 in the world. Number 4
My God.
as a state.
This is Sky Channel
We're
sign,
beating
Jim.
Japan, we're beating Germany, and all those
It's on
different
the right side
countries.
screen.
I mean, think about that.
So what would you say
I'll
then
be
to
back.
politicians in Europe
Talk
or
to the
anywhere who are
hand.
telling the public that it's
Good
too
old Arnie.
expensive, it's too difficult, and maybe it's a load of old rubbish? And I just wonder if you've heard of Nigel Farage, who thinks he might be the next UK Prime Minister.
Potentially possible.
I think everything you say are excuses. People try to find excuses not to do it. But also, if the people are being told it is about pollution, then they will go and demand from the politicians action.
Aye.
But if you talk about climate change, they don't know when they call the senator what to really ask for. Because they may call someone in the Senate on a hotline and they say, I want change. We probably say, can you explain exactly what you want? They wouldn't be able to articulate it. But if you say, let's terminate pollution, that's what it is. So because we went through it, We have shown ads in California on television that talked about sea levels rising, they talked about the polar bears, they talked about the ice melting and all this stuff. Nothing moved. But as soon as we showed a TV spot of a child being on an inhaler, and then wiping out, passing away, people looked at this and said, oh my God. And then it said, that's what we do to our children because of pollution. Immediately the numbers changed.
So you can change attitude.
So it's all about knowledge. We got to let people know. This is why I said, if you promote a movie, you got to let people know what you're promoting here. Is it just a movie, or is it an action movie? Is it a comedy? Is it a thing? So you have to know. So this is why it is important for people to know it's pollution. You're trying to terminate pollution.
What people also saw in images
Hi.
all over the world with the terrible
When I was
fires
in Los
in
Angeles.
LA, obviously
Yeah, but
very
you know
close
something,
to home for
it doesn't
you.
matter. It doesn't matter, to be honest with you. Because we have to tell the people that 7 million people died in the meantime.
It's a lot.
You see, if with the fires, let's
fires.
assume for a second, 1,000 people died in the fires. Which
Wow.
it didn't, but I mean, let's assume for a second. Let's
Imagine
tell
that.
1,000 people, right? Then let's assume another 1,000 firefighters died. That's terrible. But how does it compare to 7 million people dying because of pollution? That's what I'm talking about. You got to go and always talk about the reality, not about the drama. Oh, there was a house blown away from the hurricane, and can you believe the hurricane is coming? And then there's the water levels rising, and then there's the fires, and there's this and that, and there's that. Yes, that sounds good, but I mean, in the end, the majority of people that are dying is because of pollution, not because of climate change.
I just wonder though, what was it like for you to see that happening to LA, to see that happening to
Horrifying, I
California?
bet
You
it
were home
was.
for so long.
He's scratching on Sandy
I mean,
Jones.
luckily I wasn't there. I was making a film in New York. But the reality is it was terrible. I mean, people were caught, you know,
And died.
the flames. They had to die. They couldn't drive away with the car. They couldn't do anything. But remember that most of the fires in California has nothing to do with climate change. Most of the fires are caused by falling power lines. Falling power lines is an inaction by the government and by the power companies.
There you go, guys.
They were
This is the
supposed to,
truth.
for years already, bury the power lines. If the power lines are buried, you
They-
wouldn't fall down when the first wind comes and then start burning and killing people.
And there's always anger about political inaction, and the conversation
It's that
around
money,
politics
innit?
in America
Money
has
talks.
changed a lot in recent years.
Always about money,
Whether
guys.
it's about
There you go.
pollution,
He's not
whether it's
stupid.
about immigration, whether it's about
He's
anything
smart.
else. You warned in the run-up to the election that a Trump return to the White House would make America more angry and more divided. Do you think you were right?
Well, look, it doesn't matter what I think. The fact of the matter is that the people voted. And I respect the vote of the people. So this is it. This
Let's
is our
hope it's the
president.
best
And I say
option.
the same thing about Trump.
For you Americans, it might not be though.
He is now our president. And I will support the president because if he is successful, America is successful, and we all are successful.
Well, I want
So,
peaceful
do I
president.
agree
He is a
lot of
peaceful
the
president.
stuff that is
Or is he?
No, but there's a lot of things. I
Not
don't
completely.
agree with.
Not in America,
The bottom line
anyway.
is we got to work together. He has done some good things, and he has done some things I don't believe in.
Are you concerned though about some of the atmosphere in America? I mean, it looks in many ways like an angry place right now.
Well, people were angry already under Biden.
There you
People were
go.
angry before Biden, even when Trump was president. People
You
were
can never,
angry
you're
before
never happy with
Trump was
politics
president.
in
People
life,
are
are
angry
we,
because
as human
it
beings?
doesn't matter if you go liberal or if you go conservative.
Yeah.
People eventually get angry.
There
They
you
get
go.
frustrated. That's what creates then the new movement. I mean, you know, the liberals went too far, and they created the conservatives. Then the conservatives will go too far, they will create the liberals, and they have the liberals come back in. So
That's
this
the truth.
is the way they've been going for the last 50 years
Politicians.
that they've been in America.
But I
At least
just
scratch
wonder, you
on
are
San
a
Jevons.
proud migrant to America. You are one of the most stunning success stories of the American dream. You go there with a big dream and a big ambition,